In September of 2011, the Alabama state legislature enacted probably the ugliest anti-immigrant legislation in the country thus far.
It lets officers detain anyone they suspect might be in the country illegally.
This legislation mandated, one, that officers of the law essentially become ICE agents. And their mandate now is, rather than spend their time trying to stop crime, is to go in search of folks and find out whether or not they have immigration papers. Second part is that it goes into schools and forces teachers, or almost anybody who provides an essential service, to find out whether or not those students are themselves so-called illegal immigrants or the children of. We also have hospitals checking whether they're patients before they can deal with them. They are citizens or not. Right? Lastly, you've got any employer having to check the papers of anybody that they either employ or serve. This seems to me is probably the ugliest set of legislation we've had so far.
I can't believe that something like this could happen in America, to be honest. It's just not right on so many different levels. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I am not proud to be a citizen living in Alabama right now.
I feel really saddened that I don't believe people in Alabama are that mean-spirited.
Most people have a very difficult sense when it comes to the definition of what America means. American means the betterment of the self. It's just really disheartening to love a country, to love a state that is basically saying that it doesn't love you.
Our lives are hard enough. People work really hard, they play by the rules, they pay taxes, even undocumented immigrants pay taxes. And yet to constantly feel that there are personal attacks on whether they can take their children to school or go to the doctor or even just drive down the street, it takes away everyone's freedom. We don't have, everyone says that America is a free country. It's not in Alabama.
It incents racial profiling. It incents it. At the moment that you incent racial profiling, citizens and non-citizens will be swept into it. Because all you will do is see the color of their skin and ask, is that an immigrant or not? So in the state of Alabama, it has been a long practice of theirs to stop people of color to check their papers.
You can never whip these boys if you don't keep you and them separate. I found that out in Birmingham. You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
Our brown brothers and sisters who are now impacted by this are just the latest victims in a long history of racial profiling in the state of Alabama.
As your congressman on the House floor, I'll do anything short of shooting them. Anything that is lawful, it needs to be done.
And so I would say the brown brothers and sisters now joined an older black community in their political marginalization and the political disenfranchisement.
It is a lot like the civil rights struggle. I hope we don't turn dogs loose on these people. I hope we don't turn fire hoses on these people. I hope we haven't gone back to that, because if we have, then God have mercy on us.
The impact of the law in Alabama on kids remind me of what happened to me in the 1960s.
40 years ago, there were people in Alabama that stood in front of the doors of school to deny an education to black children.
In certain schools I couldn't attend. We were afraid all the time.
Today, they stand in front of those same schools to deny the children of immigrants an education. We beat them then, we will beat them today.
The immigrant kids are afraid because any day they could be pulled out of their classroom, pulled out of their home, taken away from their parent. A parent will never see their kids. The kids will never see their parent again in the state of Alabama now.
And what will the other children say? How will you talking about bullying in school? Instead of trying to eradicate bullies, we're creating bullies. Because that little child is going to be sitting out there and the other children are going to come by and laugh and point. Illegal, 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 illegal.
My sister-in-law is a teacher. My son is a high school principal. They complain all the time because the kids are afraid. They can't do their job like they used to.
I've never seen a community so consumed with terror. It makes Alabama, just as the legislators had hoped to do, an undesirable place to be, so much so that people would deport themselves. But people can't just deport themselves. It's not realistic to think that folks can pick up and leave everything.
My name is Marce. I live in Birmingham for 11 years. I have a son. He's 8 years old. And I work in housekeeping. I am from Oaxaca, Mexico. I come to Alabama because I want a better life. I want to help my family, and I want a better life now for my son. I love Alabama, and Alabama is a beautiful state, and I want to live Alabama. This law affects me and my son because under this law, I am criminal. If the police ask for me for dry license, I don't have dry license. He take me and can deport me. And who cares, my son? Will he be alone? My son is better with me, with anybody else. I am scared, and I don't want to live with the scare.
And what's really struck me is especially how my other members in Alabama, progressive members, and especially in the black community, reacted to this. They said to me, you know, we didn't fight for all these years for our rights to see the next group that was different to be treated with the same disrespect that we were. And this is not the America that we came to. It's not the America that we stand for.
There's no accident where immigrants are in the economy of Alabama. They are the domestic labor. They are the agricultural labor. They are the cheap construction labor. In Alabama, they are the service workers. But before they were the service workers, we were. And it is no accident that the brown folks who do it now have the same set of conditions that the black folks used to have.
It's an anti-immigrant law, but it's also an anti-Alabama law. When restaurants are empty, that are owned by people of Alabama, it hurts the people of Alabama.
We serve most of the Hispanic community. So our business is the clientele is 90% Hispanic. So if they're gone, we're not sure what we're going to do, if we're going to continue to stay open or not.
But let's say we have 70 trailers here in the park, and let's say 50 of them have to leave. That leaves me with 50 vacant trailers to try to fill. It appears to me the state doesn't really care about whether I win or lose in this thing.
It's incredibly challenging, you know, to have to replace 9 of my employees, most of which I would consider family.
It just gets to be an emotional thing because most of the people in this park are friends and some of them are like family. And I just think there's a better way of doing this.
Alabama's farmers say while this new state law is doing as it was designed, undocumented immigrants are indeed leaving, it's left the agriculture industry as the victims of unintended consequences. With 30 acres of tomatoes still to be picked, farmer Brian Alexander says most of the workers are now gone. Alexander says farmers want to hire Americans or those legally here, but no one wants the jobs.
When you want to see the new versions of Bull Connor, go to Arizona, go to Alabama, go to Georgia. I think that the present anti-immigrant legislation is just another instance of that ugly white supremacist politics. Anybody who cares about a deep multiracial democracy needs to fight against what is now happening to brown folks in Alabama.
But the fact of the matter is this is purely a political play by certain conservative politicians to whip up prejudice in a part of the country that unfortunately has seen this all too often before.
These are the same people going to talk about family values and the 10 Commandments, and then going to send a mother home and leave the children here. And they talk about their family values? Who are these people? They're a bunch of hypocrites, a bunch of liars, and a bunch of people who want to get our attention off of they're not doing their job, so we can blame some poor person.
Conservative politicians in Alabama are trying to scare workers, having workers, even native-born workers, be afraid to speak and not turn out to vote on Election Day next year.
And why does SEIU need to oppose what's happening in Alabama? And why has SEIU, for this past 10 years, been on a national rant against anti-immigrant legislation? SEIU is immigrant. It has probably the largest membership of immigrants of any union in the country. So we are immigrants. We're immigrants from all over the world. When we act against anti-immigrant sentiment, we are protecting our members. It is what our members call us to do. To allow any prejudice against any piece of it is to weaken the whole. And so you need to figure out, if you're SEIU, how to rid any barrier to participation among any of our members, right? That's who we are.
Our union and our members have to take a stand. We are part of this union not just to make our jobs better, but to fight for a just society. And a just society is respect, it's dignity for all workers, it's freedom, and our brothers and sisters in Alabama, whether they're in the union or not, are being attacked, and we have to stand up for what's right.
We're asking everyone to please come to the state of Alabama and help us fight this injustice.
The 2.1 million members of SEIU are proud to join a bigger family in this fight for justice, because we know what to do when our family's in crisis. We come together, we stick together, and we fight back together and win.
But we are here to say tonight that we will not be intimidated, we will not conform to an unjust law, and we will not ignore the fact that if it is aimed at you, it is aimed at us. It is aimed at you. It is aimed at us. Seesaw puede. Seesaw puede. Seesaw puede. Seesaw puede. Seesaw puede.
Let's fight for and pass comprehensive immigration reform. Let's repeal HB 56 and build a new Alabama and a new America together. One family, one Alabama, one America. Si se puede.
It's time for us as brothers and sisters to stand up for righteousness, stand up for justice, and stand up for equality.
Not in my America.
Not in my America.
Not in my America.
Not in my America.
Not in my America at all.
Not